Hi everybody, we're going to be covering metric conversions today. Hopefully you recall learning about the metric system in previous classes and in middle school. It's important that we do a quick review of standard international units of measurement. The measurement of mass, volume, distance, and temperature are most common. You need to know the metric unit that corresponds to each one of these. Mass we measure in grams, volume we measure in liters, distance we measure in meters, and temperature we measure in Celsius or Kelvin, depending on what it is you're measuring. Kelvin is the absolute unit, whereas Celsius is the common metric unit. Now there are lots of prefixes that we're going to be focusing on. The metric prefixes are listed in this chart, but you can also see the metric units in lots of people like to use the ladder method. Now I'll quickly show you the ladder method. All right, this is the ladder method where you see all of the metric units from largest to smallest on this stair step or ladder, giving the relative size of each one of them. Okay, so mega being the largest of them is multiples of millions. Kilo is multiples of thousands. Hecto is multiples of hundreds. Deca, multiples of 10. So if you see the prefix mega, kilo, hecto, or deca, these are large units that include tens of a particular unit. Now, the particular unit is what we need to focus on. Meters, liters, grams, or any scientific unit for that matter. We can talk about watts or joules, which are involved with energy. We can talk about volume in liters. All right. I use the memory clue King Henry dated my dear cousin Mary. Mrs. Saunders uses the memory clue kids have dirty underwear during certain moments, and the U of underwear refers to the base unit. All right. In this case, either one works, but it's which one you want to use. King Henry dated my dear cousin Mary is the one that I'll be using, but I'll try and spin the kids have dirty underwear during certain moments as well. If you want to convert any measurement, you have to use these following rules. You start at the prefix of the number you want to convert. So whatever number you're given, you start with that prefix. So if your original measurement is in decameters, then you start on your chart at deca. If your original unit is milli, then you're starting at this location on the chart. The same thing goes for if you're using the ladder. If I have a unit that starts in milli, I'm going to start at this stair step. And you simply count the number of spaces in the direction to the new unit. That's all you need to do. All right. And the new unit, once you count those number of spaces to that new unit, you will move the decimal point the exact number of spaces in the same direction. All right, you need to move the decimal point in the same direction that you counted. So if you move the decimal point 3 to the left, that's the direction you're going to move the decimal point for the original value. Let's take a look at one example and see if it'll make some sense for you. So here is my ladder, and I also have the base units written up here. There's all the metric units written up here. If we have the original value, 27.6 milliliters, all right, ml, the L is always capitalized, all right, because otherwise it could be misconstrued as a 1, all right. Otherwise, this is in milliliters. If that's my original, then I'm going to start at that unit. So here's the milli unit, or I could start here on the ladder or steps. You start at the original, and if they ask you to convert it to units of, let's do liters. All right, we just want liters. The base unit liter is always going to be found at this spot. It doesn't matter what scientific unit it is. Again, meters, liters, grams, joules, watts, any scientific measurement you can put there. So we start at milli, and we're going to universal units or base units. You count 1, 2, 3, and in this case we're going up or to the left. You count 1, 2, 3. That's how many decimal places we're moving to. You start here and you count the movements. 1, 2, 3. That's how many places you move. So I look at my original number. 1, 2, 3. And that's where my decimal point ends up. You have to put a placeholder 0 in there once you move it. So my new number in liters is 0.0276 liters. I can do the same thing from any spot on here. I can convert kilo to milli, all right? And you might want to notice that you'll see a pattern here from kilo to base units are 3. There are 3 from the base unit to milli, and I use the ... method. All right, King Henry dated my dear cousin Mary ... unexpectedly ... All right, and unexpectedly is the micro unit. It is a cursive U. But I use ... ellipses to remind everybody when you get to these really, really tiny units, there are 3 decimal places in between each one. So when I go from milli to micro, I have to move 3 decimal places. When I go micro to nanoparticles, all right, a nanometer is 1,000 times smaller than a micrometer. So I've got to go 3 decimal places, ... all the way down to picometers. Pico, that's insanely small, all right? So it's 1,000 times smaller than a nano, 1,000 times smaller than a micro, 1,000 times smaller than a milli. So you've got 1,000 times 1,000, whoops, that's 100 just so I know, times 1,000, all right? Each one of these spots. So you're looking at like, oh, I've got it in a chart here. Where's my chart? It's a very, very small value. Micro, here we go. Micro is a millionth of a meter. A millionth. You can fit 1,000,000 micrometers in 1 meter. All right. And so these values are incredibly small, and a micrometer is 1,000 times bigger than a nanometer. right? So all these factors come back to converting any unit using these 4 rules. Start at the prefix of the number you want to convert. Count the number of spaces to the new prefix in the direction that you're going, and move the decimal point in the same direction. Make sure you know your tools. Right? The triple beam balance can be read by combining the 3 weights, the counterbalances, right, or riders as they're known. You can add 200 in this case to, I'm looking back there, it looks like in this picture, it looks like a 60. I don't know, hold on, I can't actually tell. Oh, that's an 80, right? So 200 plus 80 plus whatever you find on the 1 gram rider. So this would be 285 point. In this case, you count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 285.7 grams. Right? You need to know the units for triple beam balance measuring mass. It's grams. Graduated cylinders, you read from the bottom of the meniscus. So in this picture, it would be 20. It looks like 22 milliliters. Graduated cylinders measure in milliliters. And length, we use a meter stick or a metric ruler. Each one of the small lines is a millimeter. All the units that are shown here are centimeters. All right, so 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters. All right. So you can tell the length of this paper clip in millimeters, or you could do this in centimeters. It would be 1.8 centimeters, or you could count 18 millimeters. It's the same value, and that's why conversions are so important. So for instance, if I had that paper clip is 18 millimeters, I can convert millimeters by looking at the milli. I can convert it to centimeters by moving 1 decimal point to the left. So here's my decimal point, 18 millimeters. I move it once to the left. It is equal to 1.8 centimeters. Make sure you put your units on there. No naked numbers, guys. All right, so that's how you do some conversions. If you have any questions, come on and see us during our office hours or send us an email. All right, best of luck. Take care.